2021 NASCAR Cup Series champion Kyle Larson completed his first IndyCar test today at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, did his rookie orientation. We're going to talk about that. We got some Xfinity news to cover. It's going to be a full video today, to say the least, but we're going to talk about Kyle Larson's rookie orientation. We're going to talk about Sheldon Creed and his future. We're going to talk about Riley Herbst and his extension with Stewart-Haas Racing. And then, as I promised you in yesterday's video, or 2 days ago's video, whenever I did the last video, I'm going to read some of your predictions. Now, I've never done this before, so this I don't know how this is going to go, but I made a post a few days ago asking for your round of 8 predictions. We're going to read a few of them, and I'm going to react to a few of them. But first off, let's start about what I really titled this video, what we started the video talking about. That is Kyle Larson, the 2021 champion. It was announced 2 months ago when the Cup Series was at Indianapolis for the road course race that Kyle Larson will be attempting to do the double. The double, of course, being the Indianapolis 500 on Sunday afternoon, and then Sunday night doing the Coca-Cola 600 on Memorial Day weekend. Of course, that day is a huge day for racing. In the morning, you got the Monaco Grand Prix. Then around noon Central Time, you got the Indianapolis 500. And then you've got the Coca-Cola 600 to wrap things up on that day. Well, the double has been attempted before many times. We've seen Kurt Busch attempt it recently. I think Tony Stewart might be the only one who's completed it. We've seen a lot of attempts at the double to get all 1,100 miles completed on the Sunday before Memorial Day. But I can't remember the last time it was attempted. It might be Kurt Busch. I think Jimmy Johnson wanted to attempt it, but he only got the IndyCar side of things done. In terms of like the last couple of years when Johnson was running IndyCar. But Kyle Larson, one of the most talented drivers in the Cup Series, also does a lot of non-NASCAR racing. He does a bunch of dirt racing with different types of dirt cars, sprint cars, and all of that. So, you know, while yes, it is technically open wheel, not exactly the same as an IndyCar, but it is technically open wheel. Kyle Larson has wanted to expand his horizons in racing. Now, his team owner in NASCAR, Rick Hendrick, has not always been open to his drivers doing outside of NASCAR racing during the NASCAR season due to fear of injury. And unfortunately, he saw that fear come true with Alex Bowman this year. But point being, Rick Hendrick in the last, well, really, since Kyle Larson arrived at Hendrick Motorsports in 2021, he's really opened up to letting his drivers race whenever they want to. And this is another step forward for Rick Hendrick. As I said a couple months ago, it was announced that Kyle Larson would attempt the double. HendrickCars.com, which of course is owned by Rick Hendrick, sponsors him in the Cup Series and is going to sponsor him in the Indianapolis 500. Larson will be racing for Arrow McLaren, another Chevrolet team. And so, yeah, that's the setup, basically. That was a long setup to tell you that Larson did his rookie orientation today. The Indianapolis 500 is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, races in the world. It's not going to be easy to get into. That's the point of me saying this. They don't want just anyone entering in a car, any driver entering into this race. They want the 33 best drivers possible to be racing for the Indianapolis 500. So they do rookie orientations. Almost the entire month of May is practice and qualifying for Indianapolis, the Indianapolis 500. So Kyle Larson today got his first test in an IndyCar at the Indianapolis Oval. And had to, it was a test. He had to pass a test. He had to get a passing grade. He got a passing grade. So for those of you who are curious, I actually had no idea. The most IndyCar I watch the Indy 500 every year, and sometimes I tune into a few races, but for the most part, it's NASCAR. Here is what the requirements were, according to Nathan Brown. Nathan Brown is an IndyCar reporter. I was following him all day on this stuff because I was not 100% sure on any of this. Not confident at all, but he kept me updated. Thank you, Nathan Brown. He said, and he's off. He being Kyle Larson, there's a video of him leaving the pits. For those of you new to the IndyCar world, here's what Kyle Larson has to do today to pass his Indy 500 rookie program. 10 laps at 205 to 210 miles per hour. 15 laps at 210 to 215 miles per hour, and 15 laps at 215 plus miles per hour. Do that, and he's cleared to qualify for next May's Indy 500. Spoiler alert, as I've already said, he passed. And obviously, those are not just the top speed. That is the average speed of the lap. Last year's pole lap was in the 234 mile per hour range in terms of the average speed for the pole lap. So these cars go fast. Many of you motorsports fans already knew that, but yeah, these cars fly around the Indianapolis Oval, the 2.5-mile track. Iconic, the Indy 500 iconic, but super fast as well. And Kyle Larson got his first taste of that speed today. Some numbers for you. Larson's best lap speed in the final session was recorded at 217.898 miles per hour, and his best clocking through the speed traps at the end of both straightaways was 221.187 miles per hour. Obviously, this was Larson's first ever test in an Indy car at Indianapolis, so I don't think anyone expected him to go pole lap or anything. I don't even know what the expectations were. I think the expectations were to pass, and he did that. I don't want to over-speculate, overthink this, but the fact of the matter is Larson got his first test done in an Indy car today, and that's a slow step. He's going to progress as he goes through this process. First test today. I don't know if he gets more rookie tests throughout between now and May, but then May will be the big month of testing, qualifying, practicing, doing the single car laps for qualifying. And then also, I don't know if they have like a race kind of, not like a practice race, but like if teams, like if McLaren kind of gives them a race setup, race simulation, helps them with the drafting and all that. So we'll see how it goes for Kyle Larson in the Indianapolis 500. Here's some pictures of him today. Here's the car. Here's him getting in the car, all that stuff. But obviously, we had the paint schemes. The Hendrick cars, McLaren, clash up on the Indy car. And then for the Coke 600, they're going to do something similar. But Kyle Larson passes his rookie orientation program at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, his first ever test in an Indy car. It'll be interesting to see how he does in that Indy 500. We've obviously got a lot of testing to do for Larson before he really gets into the race. And then we will be able to make, proper predictions. Now back to the NASCAR side of things. Well, I guess that was 50-50 NASCAR. We had a NASCAR driver in a non-NASCAR car, but he's also doing it for the NASCAR purpose. We're getting sidetracked. The Xfinity silly season news has gotten very spicy recently. Let's go to the non-spicy stuff first, though. I know this is the more recent one. This one just happened a few hours ago. But Riley Herbst has signed an extension with Stewart-Haas Racing. He's going to stay in the 98 car for at least one more year. No surprise there. He's got the funding. I thought he did a pretty decent job this year. Yeah, he missed the playoffs, but honestly, some of it was not his fault. He got caught up in crashes that weren't his fault. They had mechanical problems. They had a lot of things not go their way in those final few weeks of the regular season, and they missed the playoffs. And overall, on the Cup and Xfinity side of things, it's really been a disappointing year for SHR. I know Cole Custer's still out there doing great things in the Xfinity Series this year, but as a whole, SHR's just been disappointing this year. So I'm interested to see how Herbst does this year, how he rebounds from the disappointment of 2023, and to see what he can do. I think it's possible he can get his first race win next year. So, and then we go to Sheldon Creed. Sheldon Creed, he's in the Xfinity Series RCR car this year, and they've come close to that first one so many times. Watkins Glen was leading with a lap and a quarter to go and slipped in oil, and Sam Mayer took the lead and ran away with the win. He's lost a lot of races in some weird ways, but point being, Sheldon Creed has come pretty close, but not close enough. Once again, he does not have that first win. Well, he is not returning to RCR next year. They're still in the playoffs. They're still in the middle of a playoff run, but RCR announced yesterday that he would not be returning to the team. Here's what they had to say. Sheldon Creed will not be returning as the driver of the number 2 Whelen Camaro in the NASCAR Xfinity Series in 2024. We will make an announcement regarding the driver of the number 2 Whelen Chevrolet in the near future. Then Creed released a statement of his own that said, "We have decided to leave Richard Childress Racing at the end of the 2023 Xfinity season. RCR and Whelen gave me my first opportunity out of the Truck Series, and although we haven't gone out and won all the races we would have wished to, I'll be forever grateful for the friendships, hard work, learning, and growing we have done. Additionally, I can't thank Whelen enough for their never-ending support of me and our team. Extremely excited to share my 2024 plans with you all soon." This was out of nowhere. I had heard nothing about Sheldon Creed leaving. There's always rumors on the internet, and I'm always scrolling through, reading them, trying to find the spiciest ones, and I don't remember ever seeing one on Sheldon Creed leaving RCR, but here we are today. Sheldon Creed leaving RCR. The first statement made it seem like RCR was letting him go, but then Sheldon released his statement, and that first sentence makes it seem like he opted to leave, and he says he has plans set up, it seems like. So I'm curious where he's going to go. The Joe Gibbs Racing Xfinity program currently has an opening because John Hunter Nemechek is moving up to Cup with Legacy Motor Club. But then Colleague is an interesting situation because Chandler Smith might want to reunite with Joe Gibbs Racing. So if the Joe Gibbs Racing deal gets done with Chandler Smith, then there's an opening at Colleague in the Xfinity Series. Would Sheldon Creed go there? I don't know. There's a lot of interesting things happening in Xfinity right now. Will AJ Allmendinger go back to Xfinity? There's a lot going on in the Xfinity silly season right now, and it's a lot of open puzzle pieces that need to be filled in. So Sheldon Creed, we don't know where he's going to go. The Colleague car is in question. Chandler Smith, is he going to leave Colleague? Is he going to need a buyout from his contract? It'll be interesting to see what happens there. Now for the portion you guys have all been waiting for. We are going to go through community post, well, one community post, where I asked you a question. Well, I didn't put it in the form of a question, but I said, I want to hear your Championship 4 predictions after 2 rounds of the playoffs. Tell me in the comments. I've got Byron, Hamlin, Larson, and ... Tyler Reddick. Remember, he was my preseason championship pick, and then I abandoned him for my postseason championship picks, but after how he's been running, I got to go back to my preseason championship pick. Reddick has been hot in these playoffs. He's got... The reason I had him in my Championship 4 in the preseason is because of this round. Vegas, 1.5 miles. Homestead, one of Reddick's best tracks. And that I thought would be enough to carry him. Anyways, it's not about me and my predictions. It's about what you have to say. There's 42 comments on these things. Let's say 35 of them are predictions. Some of them were debates in the comments. I'm always up for a good debate. I just keep it respectful in the comments. First one I'm going to read is up here at the top, actually. It's from Michael Pate. It says, Byron, Hamlin, Larson, and Truex, but I think any of the 8 could make it with a little luck. They are all so close. And so we see a lot of predictions in these comments. Some people just put the 4 drivers they're going to make. Some people, like Michael here, defend themselves, or they put a reasoning why, or they just, put a statement at the end there. Very interesting statement at the end here, but I think any of the 8 could make it with a little luck. They are all so close. I would agree with that statement. Usually, the round of 8, there's one guy or sometimes even 2 guys that they make it there and you're like, yeah, good for you. You made the round of 8, but you don't have a chance of making it. Like, you're done for. You're not going to make it. I can't really say that about anyone in this round. Bell is in a Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota, and the 1.5 miles have been great for them. And then also, he's the defending winner at Martinsville. Ryan Blaney, he's had some good runs at Vegas before, some great runs at Martinsville before. The only really question mark for me would be Homestead. I don't think they ran well there last year. And then you look at, who are the other 2 lower seats? Reddick, as I just said, Homestead's arguably his best track on the oval side of things. And then Vegas is another great track for Toyota in 2311. So he could go out and win one of those races. And then the other guy below the cutoff line right now is Chris Buescher. And Buescher, remember, had that hot streak in the summer. He's got to win on an intermediate track. There's 2 of those in here. The short tracks have been great for RFK. He could go out and win Martinsville. So all 4 guys below the cutoff line, they could very well compete with these, essentially, I know it's not like the big 4, like the 2018 big 3, but the top 4 are big name, you got a champion in Martin Truex Jr. in a Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota. You've got Denny Hamlin, a 3-time Daytona 500 winner, a guy who, yes, he's known for choking championships, but he can get it done. I don't have 100% confidence in him because he's blown it a few times. But the fact of the matter is, you don't win 51 races in your career and 3 Daytona 500s and a bunch of other crown jewels on a fluke, So Denny Hamlin is very well going to be a championship contender. William Byron is having a breakout season. He's probably the favorite for the championship right now. And then you got another Cup Series champion in Kyle Larson. Those are your top 4. And then I just listed the other 4. Maybe a combined, I want to say, 10 wins in the Cup Series between Bell, Reddick, Buescher, and Blaney. Maybe a combined 15. Let's call it 15. Whereas Larson has almost 20 wins in his career. As I said, Hamlin has over 50. Truex has almost 40, I want to say. And then Byron has 6 wins this year alone. And it's early in his career. Those top 4 have been killing it this year and really the past few years. And so those bottom 4, if I listed this round of 8 to you at the beginning of the season, you would have said Byron, well, you might have said Bell, but you would have said Hamlin, Truex, Larson. Those are like, they probably whipping the field, and they're going to make it by a long shot or a pretty easy amount. I don't think it's as easy as said. So, very interesting comment there. Next one up is from Noah Coleman, 5556. He says 5, 11, 24, 45. Nice Final Four. I would have easily said Truex at the beginning of the playoffs. He was my title pick. But something has gone horribly wrong for that team, and I'm not convinced they can change it this round. Reddick's best oval is arguably Homestead, and the most similar track to Las Vegas is Kansas, and we know what happened there. But my heart wants Christopher Buescher in the Final Four more than anything. I agree with that last sentence so much. I want Prosper, Texas in the Final Four because, as I promised you all, if Chris Buescher makes the Final Four, I will be watching the Final Four in Prosper, Texas. I'm only like 30 minutes away. I will go to Prosper, find whatever sports-themed restaurant they have, go to Chris Buescher's high school if I have to. Actually played them in high school, fun fact of the day, in basketball. But anyways, point being, I will go to Prosper if Buescher makes the Final Four. As for the rest of the prediction, as for Truex, yeah, it has been, to say it's been a disaster of playoffs would be an understatement, but they are still alive, which is a miracle. That regular season championship, those playoff points that we talk about so much on this channel, have carried him through these playoffs. He should have been knocked out in the first round. He should have been knocked out last round. He does not have a top 15 in the playoffs. There have been 6 races. Me and Martin Truex Jr. through 6 races in the playoffs at the same amount of top 15s. That's pretty sad because, honestly, my idea of a thrilling time is going 1 mile over the speed limit. I'm saying 1 mile for legal reasons. Just kidding. But for real, though, like, it's just mind-blowing how bad Truex has been in these playoffs. And if they don't pick it up here, they're getting eliminated. These other guys will outrun them in this round. The points will catch up to them. They've got to get it done here. Next comment says, it's from Tyler Hernandez, 5234. I think Blaney wins next week as Penske is usually good there. Larson or Reddick winning at Homestead and Blaney or Byron winning at Martinsville. So if Reddick wins, then Larson gets in on points. If Larson wins, Hamlin gets in on points. Very interesting prediction on the Blaney side of things. Well, Blaney, I think the thing he would have had going for him a year ago is that Penske was strong and that they're the defending winner of this race with Joey Logano. And I think another point that stands on the pros for Blaney is that he won the Coca-Cola 600 this year, really dominated that race, mile-and-a-half racetrack just like Las Vegas. The cons, the not-so-great thing is they've struggled this year as a whole. Penske has. Cindric missed the playoffs. Logano was out in the first round and only had 1 win and it was at a super speedway. Blaney, he went so long without a top 5. That Coke 600 to the Talladega win. No top 5s in between there. Man, it's tough. It's possible, but I see where you're coming from. As for the rest of it, Larson or Reddick winning at Homestead, they will be the 2 favorites at that track, I think, in the odd side of things. And then Byron winning at Martinsville, very possible. One in the next-gen car in the spring of 22. And obviously, he's been running extremely well this year and can win each and every week. Now, I will say something interesting here. I was keeping tally of your votes of who's going to make the Final Four. It took 18 predictions. I was counting 18 predictions. I saw so many different combinations of Final Fours. It took 18 people predicting the Final Four for me to see Christopher Bell for the first time. I got to be honest with you. I can't remember who the first one was, but I'm going to go to the next one I see that says Bell, and it's Dice Guy 10. Lucky you. I don't know if you were the first one to pick Bell, but it says Byron, Hamlin, Larson, and Bell. So we see Byron. A lot of people have him as a lock. Hamlin, people have him as a lock. And Larson, I would say he's not a lock just because he's kind of checkers the record sometimes. But then that 4th pick, I saw a lot of people in these comments not having Truex in just because of the reason I stated earlier. They've been inconsistent this year. And he has Bell essentially subbing in for Truex. I think Bell is a good pick, honestly. I know he's below the cutoff line. I know they've had some inconsistency issues recently. They've had some bad pit stops. But as I said, Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas on mile-and-a-halfs are a great combination. Christopher Bell's a good driver. He's the defending winner at Martinsville. It's possible he gets in this thing. So that's the Christopher Bell defense, I guess. I'm going to read one more. I'm just going to scroll up and down, look away. Whatever my mouse lands on, it is Breadman Walking. Neat name. I want it to be Truex, Larson, Blaney, and Reddick, but man, I don't know. I relate to that. I have my Final Four prediction, and I'm not 100% confident in it because this format is a crapshoot, and you never know. But Truex, Larson, Blaney, and Reddick. The Truex, Larson, quite, I'd say that's a normal prediction. But to have Hamlin and Byron missing, that's a pretty bold prediction. Like, very bold prediction. To have Byron, who has 6 wins on the year, is hot to miss, and then Hamlin, who's been extremely consistent this year, out. That is a hot take. I think if that were the situation to arise, if that were to be the Final Four, that would mean Reddick wins at Homestead and Blaney wins at Martinsville. If that situation were to play out, that's how I would predict it. But I know this video went a long time. I was going to do that whole segment of reading your comments. I was going to read like 20 of them, and it was going to be one video. But so much news happening, I figured I could crunch it in because I have to make another video tonight. But it's an announcement, and it's fun. So look forward to that. I got an announcement tonight. I don't have a set time. I'm just going to kind of do it whenever I feel like doing it. So it won't be too late. It'll be like 7 or 8 Central Time. Maybe even 6, It's a wide range. Before 9 p.m. Central. How about that? But thanks for watching this video. It's gone on long enough. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. And I'll see you guys in tonight's announcement. And then I'll see you this weekend for any other NASCAR news. And, of course, the race at Las Vegas.